Alright, welcome back to Unit 3, Day 4. So reminders before we get started, and make sure you have your history notebook out and you're taking notes as you move through the video. And make sure you complete the vocabulary for this video, either highlight it in your notes or write out the definitions. So let's go ahead and get started. Our key terms for today are going to be Congress of Vienna, Conservatism, Liberalism, Radicalism, Nationalism, Zionism, Socialism, Count Cavour, Garibaldi, Bismarck, Triple Alliance, and the Triple Entente. So key concepts for today are going to be the effects of the French Revolution on politics in Western Europe, the emerging ideologies and political beliefs after 1815, and what the world looks like at 1914. So this is going to be the emergence of ideologies, especially after the French Revolution. The first one to kind of pop up is going to be the Congress of Vienna. Now this was a conservative restoration, and what this is going to take place is this is going to be after Napoleon is ousted, and that the Congress of Vienna will put back in a king, and they're going to kind of be more conservative practices. And this directly leads to our next two ideologies. Now, conservatism and liberalism, these two are really classical conservatism and classical liberalism. And they're semi-different to the kind of ideologies we have today. In conservatism, they're going to resist change, they're going to support monarchies, mercantilism, and their big champion is going to be Edmund Burke. What a champion means is someone who really advocates for it. Now we have liberalism. They're going to welcome controlled change as kind of an agent of progress. Laissez-faire capitalism, meaning that the government should be really hands-off. They're really going to champion freedom, democracy, equality, written constitutions. A lot of times it's going to be voting rights and women's rights. They really want to limit state power, especially they want to make sure that that governments aren't harming or oppressing people's individual freedoms. The person who's going to champion this is John Stuart Mill. The next ideology we have is radicalism. Now, radicalism is just extreme liberalism. And really, it's not even that extreme. They really just wanted voting rights, right? Which I know is a crazy concept. People can vote. What are you talking about? That's crazy, right? And, this is also going to be kind of like socialism and communism, right? And really, they also attacked private property and class status and things, but they were really just a very, left-leaning liberalism. Then we have nationalism. This is going to be the idea of a country, right? Like you belong to a country. An example of this would be Joan of Arc. You're no longer bound by where you're, who your king is or who, what fief you're under. It's really you're French. You're Spanish. Right? And that often replaces loyalty to the church and the monarch. So it's really instead of, oh, I'm Catholic, I belong to the Catholics. No, I'm French Catholic. I'm French. Or when, France invades Spain, and next thing you know, now there's a rise in Spanish nationalism. Okay, I'm now Spanish, I'm going to push back against the French. Our last one is Zionism. Now, Zionism is Jewish nationalism in response to European anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is, anti-Jewish. This is going to be founded by Theodor Herzl to create a Jewish state in Palestine. Now, recently, as of, October 2023, there's now been a big upset with, Israel and Palestine and Hamas going into war. This is directly based off kind of Zionism and the looking for a Jewish home state. But that state won't be created until 1948. Now, our two big socialist challenges, right? We have Marxian socialist. This is your communist. Now, communism is created by Karl Marx and Engels. And really this is going to be, really communism that, the proletariat, or they're going to be where there's no private ownership. There's no government controlling anything. It's really the proletariat or the factory workers owning the means of production, the factories. They govern themselves. This is truly, government, right? Very little government. People control themselves. And this kind of comes out in the Communist Manifesto. And this will really become popular in the early 20th century. Now, on the opposite end, and not really the opposite end, is we have democratic socialism and reform socialism. This combines aspects of socialism and democracy, meaning that the government, it takes care of certain things, but the people still control. There's still kind of, private property and things, and they combine aspects, of, trade, and, the government will help the workers and unionize the workers, but it's still it's still somewhat capitalism, but it's still like more government control. Again, this will become more and more popular in the 20th century. Now let's talk about the unification of Italy and Germany. Now with Italy, we have Sardinia and Cavour. Now, the Prime Minister of Sardinia becomes the leader of the National. Now, this is going to be kind of northern Italy, and this is when they're going to push out the Austrian-Hungarians in northern Italy. And this is going to happen in 1859 with French aid, and this is really going to kind of have northern Italy become, I'm now Italy. Well, there's still a whole bottom part of Italy that needs to be taking place, and this kind of is Garibaldi, right? He's a revolutionary nationalist. He's a Democrat. He's going to stage revolutions, and he's going to seize control of southern Italy. And between our two, between the northern revolutions of Italy and the southern revolutions of Italy, between 1860 and 1870, the Italian states are going to be united under Sardinia. Now, Germany. Now, Germany at this time is a series of little baby city-states. Not city-states, but little babies countries. And the biggest one of that, the kind of majority, is going to be Prussian. Now, the leader of the Prussians is known as Otto von Bismarck. And what he's going to do is he's going to unify Germany through what is known as blood and iron. So he's going to conquer it. He's going to make a extremely effective industrial sector. He's going to use conservatism, militarism, married with nationalism. So we have this extremely centralized power, extremely centralized military, but we're all German. And so this is going to spark 3 wars that are going to boost this German pride. Yeah, Germany's the best, right? We're German. We can conquer everyone. They're going to defeat Austria, Austro-Hungarians, kick them out of the area. They're going to fight France, and they're going to kind of unify Germany under Prussia. Now, the 2 big regions that they take from France, which is really going to cause a big stir, is Alsace-Lorraine. And that's really what's going to push. It's one of the biggest reasons it's going to push France into World War I. Now, by 1871, Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian king, is proclaimed emperor of the Second Reich. So again, as I said before, Germany was very much a bunch of these little baby countries. And if you look over close to France near Nancy, you have Alsace-Lorraine, and that's going to be the biggest push. But all of this will become, except for the pink part, all of this, well, even the pink part, this will all become Germany. Now, are everybody going to take all this kind of conquering and doing all this stuff together? No. This is the rise of international organizations or non-governmental organizations. Now, non-governmental organizations or NGOs are going to establish cooperation within countries. And they normally focus on 1 or 2 things. Just like the Red Cross is this is providing medical aid to wars and destroyed areas. This is also going to lead to things like the Olympics, the resurgence of the Olympics, and they're also going to lead to international laws. The international laws of peace and war. Certain things is you can't deliberately kill civilians in conflict. If the country is neutral, you can't go attack them, right? You have to. There's now rules of war and rules of peace. Like if we're in war and somebody surrenders, you can't just shoot them, right? It really leads to like truly like what is known as like civilized warfare. I know that's kind of redundant, but it's more civilized warfare. And this also at the same time creates alliances. We have the Triple Alliance, which is Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. And then we have the Triple Entente, which is France, Russia, and the UK. And this is what that looks like. Now, the Triple Alliance in the middle is very surrounded on all sides, and this is going to be like our teams for World War One. Well, kind of. Italy won't join. Won't really fight. Germany, Austria, Hungary. They're gonna start at the beginning, but they're really gonna switch sides and be like, no, we're not gonna do that. But yeah. So this is kind of the end for today. Please make sure you're taking notes as we went through. Make sure you're listening to what I'm saying as well as writing down the notes. Make sure you complete the vocabulary. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in class.